mentioned last week, tremendous football team, ranked 12th and 13th in the country in respective polls. And really, no weaknesses right now. Offensively, leading the conference in total offense, maybe leading the nation in third downs. I haven't checked, but leading the Pac-12 for certain at 68%. Might be leading the nation in that category. But bottom line is, it's a big challenge for us, but we'll be ready to play and looking forward to the game on Thursday night. So, questions?
Coach, looking at UCLA's offense and their ability to make explosive plays, how important will ball control be for your team?
Well, that's always important. Our offense has done a nice job of protecting the football and not turning it over this year. We've been very good at with ball security, and that'll be a premium this week, obviously. And then making first downs. In order to make first downs, we've got to be much better than we were on third down in the previous game. Third down was probably the biggest negative to come out of it. The rivalry game, or lack of third down production, and so that's got to improve. And if that improves, then we move the ball better by making first downs and controlling the clock a little bit.
Coach, it was just a few years ago that UCLA was pretty much an also ran, and they were kind of going nowhere as a program. Then they hired Coach Moore, and he turns things around really quickly. Is this just kind of just a testament to how the right hire could come in and kind of make a team that hasn't been so good really good in a short amount of time?
I think that's part of it. Coach Moore is a heck of a football coach. He's got a great background. He's done a lot of good things at a lot of different places. But by no means was the cupboard bare when he got there. Coach Moore done a great job recruiting there and had talented players. And so I think it's a combination of a great deal of talent that he inherited, but taking that talent and maximizing it. So I guess to answer your question is yes on one front, but more to it than just that.
What is it that their quarterback Huntley does so well that makes him such a great weapon?
Well, he does everything well. He's a lot like our guy, Travis. I mean, their numbers are almost exact when you compare the two as far as the throw game. They're within a point or two of each other in pass efficiency. Huntley runs the ball well, like Travis does. So there's a really good comparison between those two guys, and it's going to be an intriguing matchup. The quarterbacks going against each other head to head this Thursday night, and so that's really what Travis brings to the table and makes him difficult to defend. Huntley does the same thing for the road.
Kyle, in general, what are your thoughts on these very early week Thursday games, and specifically for this one, how fortuitous is it coming off of a bye to prepare for it?
Well, I think Thursday games are good for exposure. You have a chance to be on national television. You don't want to make a habit of it. I think one or two a season is plenty. Academics is obviously a concern for your players. It's right in the middle of your academic week. But and then coming off the bye week, it's a level playing field where both teams are in the same situation. So I don't see any advantage or disadvantage to that. Back in the previous years, there has been situations where you're coming off a bye week where the other team isn't, or vice versa, which makes things a little bit different. But I don't think this is a big issue. I think we're both, like I said, same footing.
More questions?
What makes Anthony Barnes such a special player?
Well, he's explosive. He's instinctive. He does it all. He's just a player that has a great motor, a great skill set, fundamentally technique sound, and he's a force moving around.
What position matchup are you guys going to have to win on Thursday in order to have a chance in this game?
Well, I think it starts with the line of scrimmage, like it does most weeks. I think if our defensive line can do a good job putting pressure on the quarterback, like we have done so far this season, we're second in the league, I think, in sacks, first in the league in sacks per game. So if that can continue, if we can continue to win the line of scrimmage, and then it goes for both sides offensively, we need to protect Travis and open some holes up in the run game. So I think most weeks that is the key matchup, and I don't see this week being any different.
The spotlight's really been on the secondary from preseason until now. What kind of progress have you seen from them, especially after the BYU game?
Well, we've definitely taken steps forward in a lot of areas. The Oregon State game was the point where we really got much. Now, if you look at Fall Oregon State, he's doing that every week. I mean, Manny did it again Saturday, and so I think he threw for 420 or something like that again. So it's not something that he hasn't done to everybody. But to answer your question, I think we've made strides. We've got 4 or 5 guys that we feel comfortable with now, and the group has really separated itself and become apparent as who the guys are that are ready to play and who's not quite ready.
Coach, you talked about UCLA's national rankings and the fact that it's a nationally televised game and those kind of things. What have you seen from your guys over the last couple of days of practice and showing how amped up they are for this scenario?
Well, their work ethic at practice has been excellent. Their focus, their concentration, and the week before was probably the best it's been in a long time. And this past week has really been similar to what we had going in the rivalry game as far as the quality of practices. And there's an air of confidence about the team. We know we got to get things rolling in the Pac-12, but right now we feel like we've made big steps as to who we are, our identity, what we're good at, what we're not so good at.
Coach, over the first few games, you've emphasized creating turnovers on your defense. Could you give us something of a progress report on how the defense is doing and what you've worked on this week to perhaps take a few away from UCLA?
Yeah, we're working on that constantly throughout the entire practice. There is no one period devoted to it. It's a constant throughout practice, stripping the ball out and getting the ball out of the air interception-wise. And we did come up with an interception in the rivalry game. We're still way behind where we'd like to be in takeaways. But with the offense doing such a good job taking care of the football, that has not been really magnified as it could have been if the offense wasn't doing such a great job of football security.
Coach, third downs, offensively and also defensively, looking back at last year's UCLA game, Brett Hundley, third down, he ran wild. Can you talk about that scenario, and then offensively, what you guys can do to better the 1 and 14 and to extend drives?
Yeah, well, first of all, defensively, we're not doing bad in third down overall for the season. I think we're somewhere in the mid-30s to upper 30 percentile, which our goal as a defense is 30%. If we can hold teams to 30% or less, we feel really good about that. Offensively, we're actually doing pretty good on third down up until this past ball game. We were in the mid-40s, and this last game obviously hurt that percentage. But on offense, in order for us to move the chains, do a better job moving the chains in this past game, it was just a matter of making a few more plays. We had a couple drops, some penalties, some things that negated some of those third down conversions. Defensively, we had to do a better job of keeping Hundley, when you relate back to last year, in the cage. He escaped far too many times and predominantly on third down. So we got to do a better job with our pass rush and our spacing within those lanes.
You already touched on VAR and what VAR does for their defense, but what else are they doing defensively? Because they seem to be making plays, and who are a couple of the other guys to keep an eye on Thursday night?
Well, they're good across the board on defense. The Marsh kid, the defensive lineman, number 99, I'm really high on him. He's Curtis Marsh's son that played here way back when, and he's an active, tough defensive lineman. Their secondary is athletic. Their backers are active, and so there really isn't anything that you could say is a weakness on their defense. They're playing exceptionally well. They do a nice job mixing in some on front and mixing up coverages. And Coach Moore, that really is his forte, his defensive side of the ball. You can see that showing up in their schemes.
Kyle, in light of the Lane Kiffin firing over the weekend, just in general terms as a college football coach, how much concern is there in looking at the need or the want to win now and get results now and what a short lifespan coaches can have?
Yeah, well, that's the nature of the profession right now is not very patient. There's a lot of money at stake. I mean, it's big business. You saw, I think Connecticut did the same thing. I think the coach at UConn got let go this week as well. And so that's how it is. There's no change in it. And every college coach, I don't think there's anybody that doesn't want to win in the worst way and is far more concerned with that than what's going on externally. And so all you do is just do the best job you can. And the other stuff that's out of your control, you don't worry about.
Any questions?
Well, I know it's very, very early, but if you get a win this week, everybody in the South Division will have one loss in Pac-12 play already. You just talk about how Pac-12 play is developing so far in your eyes.
Yeah, so far the North seems to have a distinct advantage. not sure what the overall head-to-head record is, but I know it's not good for the South. But what that does for us is, it actually helps us, because the North is beat up on some people, but we just gotta worry about our own selves, and if we do be fortunate enough to get a win, and we're right in the thick of things.
And the second question, home field advantage doesn't seem to be as obviously as prevalent as it was in the Mountain West and the Pac-12. You just talked about how wins don't seem to be as common at home as they were in the Pac.
Well, as I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, the teams that are coming in here, there's a dramatic difference in a lot of the talent levels of the teams that are coming in here. But I will say our home field advantage, if it's, is not because of lack of fan support. Our fans have been outstanding. They fill the stadium up every week. They're loud. It's a great environment. And so, we can't thank our fans enough for the support they've given us over the last several years. And to answer your question, it's, to me, the bottom line there is we have, a bunch of high-quality, top 25 type teams coming through here on a regular basis. And so that's been the biggest reason for that.
Anything else for Coach Whittingham? Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.